And welcome back to Legacy of Leaders. I'm your host, Captain Rick Hoffman, and I have as my guest today, Mal Washington. Good to see you, Mal.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me. This will be fun talking
this
with
will be
you.
A great time. Many of you here in Jacksonville know the name Mal Washington, a professional tennis player for many, many years. Has been in the community now for about 35 years and is doing some really wonderful things. You and I first met working with the Student Affairs Community Council at University of North Florida. And we've done, over 10 years, I think.
Yes.
10 years together. I would say that from my perspective, having gone to a military school and had been in the Navy for all those years, being engaged with the student body at University of North Florida, being exposed to their challenges, the differences in society from when we were growing up, that's been a real eye-opener. How has it affected you?
I've really enjoyed University of North Florida. I mean, I always say I'm a Wolverine because I started my college career at 18 years old at University of Michigan, then had a couple of careers in between, and then eventually got my degree from University of North Florida back in 2010. So I always joke because I was always one of the oldest people in my class. I'm like, why are all these kids texting? You know, what is this about? But I've really enjoyed engaging with UNF in a little different way. As you know, with my youth foundation, I do that a lot with middle school students, elementary, high school students, but engaging with students at the collegiate level and then trying to impact them. Very different than when I was in college, but I've loved that process and being a part of the Student Affairs Community Council, just feeling I can, one, give back to the university I graduated from, giving back to the community at large, and it helps that it's not even 15 minutes from my house, so I can just go up there and engage.
And we have really accumulated a really, really good group of people. Very, very diverse, very eclectic. I joke that old white guy is sort of the minority in this group because I don't have a doctorate, and almost all the female members have doctorates, and so it's an interesting group and fun to be around. And I learn something every time we get together.
Well, what I like about what you just said is I enjoy being around success. And I enjoy being around you and learning.
In spite of that,
about I mean, you've had a tremendous amount of success, and I feel like I can learn, and I try to be a sponge. And so, being a part of the Student Affairs Community Council, you have 20, 25 members from every different background who are very successful in their own right, and really all they want to try to do is give back to the community, give back to the university. It's very selfless. They're not doing it for their own recognition or their own benefit, but they're taking their skills and talents that they've acquired over 20, 30, 40 years and then employing that back into the school. And that's pretty cool because I interestingly, when I was younger, I wasn't really interested in learning. I mean, I had a tennis career and I was highly interested in playing tennis. And if you looked at my time in high school and at University of Michigan, Mal was focused on tennis. But now that I'm much older, I understand the value of education, the formal education, and then just the ongoing personal development. That is 100% up to me. It's not required, but it's what I choose to do. And so when you're around that with the council, that's actually fun for me.
Well, again, I think that's one of the things that attracted me to create our friendship is we both share this quest for self-improvement and growth. We come from completely different backgrounds and origins, but I think we've converged on a lot of topics that actually required me to stop and take a good hard look at some of my beliefs and biases growing up. But let's talk about something real important. You had a tennis career cut short by injury, and now you're continuing to give back to tennis here in Jacksonville. Talk a little bit about your foundation for me.
Well, I've had my youth foundation, the MaliVai Washington Youth Foundation. We are in our 30th year of programming, and this goes back to when I was on the tennis tour, the ATP tennis tour back in the 1990s. My dad and I started the foundation in 1994, and there was no programming. It was just when we were traveling on tour, periodic, usually in the United States. My dad was traveling with me, and people would say, hey, would Mal be willing to come out and talk to a group of kids? And from there, that morphed into starting a foundation and just helping an organization with a few tennis balls, a couple of tennis rackets. There was no formal application process. There was really no programming. And it wasn't until 1997 when a good friend of mine and our current executive director, Terry Florio, we started talking. I said, I have this foundation. I'd love to do something with kids and tennis in Jacksonville. Do you have any suggestions? within 12 months of that conversation, we had a partnership with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. We were doing tennis programs. We were having our first fundraiser. And it's just morphed from there. I mean, I'll tell you, Rick, I would have never imagined that this is where we would be with the foundation, because at the time it was just exposing kids to the sport of tennis, kids who otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. I think tennis is the greatest sport in the world, and was hoping that they would be able to get from tennis what I was able to get, that idea of confidence and sportsmanship and sticking to a task and consistent discipline, all these things that I was able to get. That's what I wanted for our students through the sport of tennis. And then since then it's just morphed into life skills, and still have the tennis and financial literacy and the education programs, really just taking a group of kids, about 250 of them, from kinder all the way through high school, and trying to impact them right here in primarily the 32209 zip code.
You've got 30 years of this now. How much fun is it for you to
It's,
have these kids come back to you who are now in their early 40s raising their own children? Have you had any legacy?
Well, what it makes me realize is how old I'm getting and how long we've
You
done.
get no sympathy from me.
We have, yeah, because you're a little bit older.
I'm a
I
lot
think.
older.
But we have former students who are now married with their own families.
Yeah.
Former students who are working part-time with the foundation, former students who are working full-time with the foundation, some students who are starting to get a little gray around the edges, students that I've known since the elementary school years, and now they're in their mid-30s.
Yeah, yeah.
And so seeing that full circle is pretty special. Having a young adult now come work with us full-time, that's special. When students who've come through our program become adults, now they are parents, fathers and mothers, and they say, you know what, I want my kid in your program. Yeah. So literally today we are on second generation students in my foundation. So to me, that's kind of a nod from our former students that just kind of say, okay, this worked for me. Yeah. This is the benefit I see. I want my kid to have some of that as well. So that's actually pretty special and cool when that happens.
Well, again, we talk a lot about when I talk about leadership stuff. You know, my comment is that the worst possible person in a conversation to identify that they're a good leader is me. Okay, you have to tell me, and that's the metrics. And so the sort of metrics you've got is now in retrospect, 25, 30 years later, they look back on it and say, I learned a lot. This was important. My child needs this, and there is no stronger compliment for you. You must feel enormously rewarded for that.
It is special, but what I've realized over time, it's a significant amount of work. And you have kids. I have two kids. My kids are 21 and 23 years old, and
my kids are your age. So
what we found is when you have a young person, your parenting never ends.
Yeah.
And it's a sustained effort. Even when that child becomes an adult, it's a sustained effort.
Wait a minute, I had girls, and I quit parenting them when they were about 11. Well, they made it very difficult. I'm kidding, of course.
I have a son and a daughter, and what I told them growing up is, once you turn 18, you're out of my house and out of my pocket. And they have both left the house because they've gone on to college, but the out of my pocket, that hadn't worked out quite like I thought it was going to. But my point in saying all of that is with the foundation, I remember initially thinking, oh, you know, we're a elementary school program, and then as those students keep coming back and they're getting older, it's like, oh wow, we actually need a middle school program. We need a college program. Yeah. So we have taken the position, how can we be a second family for these students? How can we have this sustained effort in their life, not only just while they're in middle or high school, but literally through their teenage years into adulthood. Yeah. And now we have programming for some of our former students who are in their 20s. So we want to be a resource for them. I often say, my network is your network now. Yeah. So even though you've left our programs, even though maybe you haven't been engaged as much because you're 26, 28 years old, how can we as an organization and my network, you're a part of my network.
Yeah, thank you.
How can me and my organization and everyone we know still be a resource for you? Because what we've learned is, just because you're 25 years old doesn't mean you have it all figured out. And literally today I have, I'm going to be on a Zoom call with one of our former students, just trying to pour into her and give her a little bit of advice and a little bit of guidance. So that doesn't end with my 2 kids, and it doesn't end with the students at my foundation. We're going to continue to pour into them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And of course, you're very active in the mentorship program at University of North Florida as well, and the summer kickoff program that UNF hosts. You speak on what, financial literacy and some of the other issues that kids don't get at home.
Well, what's interesting is the last time I spoke at the University of North Florida as a part of their Osprey First program. I was talking about time management, which my wife actually thought was kind of funny because she's like, okay, wait, you of all people talking about
finance. It's like me talking about financial literacy.
But as you know, being in the military, time management is so important.
Yeah.
And if you can manage your time, we all have the same 24 hours, but how effectively can we use that 24 hours?
Yeah.
But you mentioned financial literacy. That is something I engage with in a big way with some of the students at the foundation, or a lot of the students at the foundation, but also some students at UNF, because we're in 2026.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone is saying, well, you know, this year is real easy. I mean, life is just getting easier. Things are expensive. Housing is getting more expensive, whether you're trying to buy or whether you're renting. And what I've realized is everyone deals with money every single day, and if you're not intentional about how you deal with your money, and if you don't have a solid financial base, Rick, tell me, how do you get ahead in today's world, especially when you're also making some of those tragic financial decisions, and it's usually around credit cards or bad loans or bad purchases,
Girlfriends.
That significant other that you're spending way too much money on.
And time.
The time can be quality time, but if you're spending way too much money that you don't have and you're paying for it over time, you're going to look back and say, wow, I made some bad financial decisions. So at a very young age, middle school and high school, we're trying to build their financial base so they can, once they become an adult.
Yeah.
Because I say, once you become an adult, at 18 years old, guess what? You can go into debt by yourself.
Yeah.
You can get a credit card, bank account, all those things by yourself. But that's when you can start making decisions on your own, and hopefully they can be good, solid decisions.
Yeah. Well, as you said, both time and finances are a matter of priorities, and you make sure you have to make good decisions and good priorities. But speaking of time, I'm getting the note that we're about out of time for today. I really want to thank you again, Mal, for taking your time out to come out and visit with us. Anybody that wants to support the MaliVai Washington Foundation, it has, of course, websites, yep. Or maybe if you have a child that you think might benefit from the sort of environment that Mal has created and has sustained for over 30 years, please take the time and look it up and support Mal.
Yep.
Mal, thanks so much for your time.
Rick, thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay.